ARK Survival Ascended has arrived. But before I can do anything else in the game, I need to build myself a character. One I'll be proud of using in my playthroughs, one befitting a thumbnail. And with the introduction of a brand new character creator, I thought I'd take this opportunity to go through its features. Let's get cracking. Alright Tinkers, I'm Toastbloke and I'm here in the brand new character creator in ARK Survival Ascended. And already you'll notice it looks completely different to the one in the original game. The aesthetics are better, the presentation's better, and more importantly, the organisation and options are better. Now the first thing I noticed, because I'm going to be using a male character, is the game seems to have taken a big inspiration from Disney's Pixar movies, because this year it just reminds me so much of Mr. Incredible. I don't know why, but that seems to be the vibe that they've gone for. The second thing that I've noticed is that they have added headings. They've got a little menu here with some tabs that you can click on to get into the details of each part of your character's makeup, which I think is fantastic. So we're going to go through those and we're going to see what kind of character we can create. Hopefully I come up with something that I'm going to want to use in all of my ARK Survival Ascended playthroughs going forward. Now the first thing, this name tag, you can choose your name at any point in the process. It always stays up there at the top, but I like to do it at the start, and I like to go for daft names, funny names, you know what I mean? So I'm going to change slightly from what I used in my previous playthrough and jump in with this one. If you get it, I feel very sorry for you. If you don't, good on you. But I'm now called Drew Peacock. Next option that you get on this page at least is choose your sex. You can be male, you can be female. It depends which one you fancy. I like to be male mainly because in PvP everybody's female, so when I hear myself grunt I think I'm getting attacked even though I'm in PvE now. So I'm going male, plus I'm a male, makes sense. I'm happy. You do you. First option underneath is body template, and you can use this to just get your initial idea of what you want your character to look like, and there are 4 different body types. This is apparently average, although maybe it's average for ARK, but that is super muscular. If that's average, people need to start getting to the gym more often, a lot more people. The next one is slim and tall. Next, a little bit more to love. And then finally, Hulk, just absolutely massive and tall. So you pick which one you want. This represents more of the kind of character build I think was in the original game, and the one that I will more than likely want to use. So I'm going to choose that. Skin color wise, we've got way more options. It's not just a single slider now. What you can do is you can go left and right to change the color of your skin tone from light to dark. If you go up and down or down to up, you'll make it cooler or warmer. So you've got so many more options. Now I'm not going to be picking this because it's blinding us, but also we're going to be on an island, and if the guy's like this, he's probably going to end up like this after a few days, maybe worse because he's going to have sunburn. So I'm going to start somewhere in the middle, and I think, you know, you'd probably work towards getting a bit of a tan, and I like the warmer tones. So I think, I don't know, something around there. I quite like the look of that. I think that's going to be the skin colour that I choose. Below that we've got a really nice option here. This is overall height, but it doesn't just change height, it actually scales the whole character model up and down. So if I do this and make it larger, everything stays in proportion. If I go small, everything stays in proportion, and that's a really nice touch because you don't want to be changing all of the parameters once you've picked them. And this means when I play PvP, I can have my character and make it tiny, but when I'm playing PvE, I can make it a bit bigger if I want. It's lovely. Now, I'd recommend being somewhere in the middle to the lower side, purely because of the size of doors in the game and, well, structures in the game. I tried out the smallest option, and the guy's head was only just above the smithy. So bear that in mind when you're choosing your height, and also just think for the small door. You know, you probably don't want to be banging your head on it. So yeah, I'm going to put that in the middle. To get it perfect, you can just change sex, come back, it's put it back in the middle, everything else is held. So that's a nice little touch. Body composition works in a similar way to skin color. We've got more options. Now, if you come over to the left, this is 0 muscle in the body. Over to the right, full muscle in the body. When you come from the top, you are going to be slim. And when you come up, you're going to be a little bit more chubby. Now then, if you want muscular and chubby, go to the right. Look at that. If you just want chubby with no muscle, go to the left. If you want skinny, no muscle, there you go. And if you want muscular, there you go. No size. So that's how this works. Again, I like to start in the middle somewhere. And I want to bring this down. I want my guy to... I don't want to be too big. I don't want to be too small. And I definitely don't want overly skinny. Although, between here seems quite nice. That's over the top size, you know. Small. Yeah, I think that's too big. That's getting over the top. That's turning back into that Hulk version. So I'm maybe going to bring this down. But I'm going to keep it in the middle. That's what I'm going to do. Just like that. Be nice if it snapped to the grid, you know. Be nice. If you could move it around, but it still snapped to the corners. So I'm going to choose that one. There we go. Now, voices. They've added voice options to the game, and you can choose which voice out of 6 that you want. There are 3 masculine sounding voices and 3 feminine sounding voices. So it's up to you what you want. Voice 1 sounds the most like the original game. There's that famous grunt. But you do have these options too. There you go. The feminine ones. Oh my god, what was that? I think that sounds more like the original feminine. No, that one actually voice 6. I think voice 6 is more like the original female. And voice 1 more like the original male. I want to stick with that. Just for familiarity. That's what I want. And that is our first menu, our first set of options done. We're going to move on to the next tab, which is head. So let's click that. And we have so much more options wise when it comes to customization. The first being eye size. Now, I think most of these settings, bang in the middle on 50, is probably ideal. I think they've done a good job of picking what your character should probably look like in the game. But if you want to go crackers, you can slide 50 points either way. Look, tiny eyes, and then huge, big anime eyes. I feel like 50 is decent, but I would like to make them a little bigger. So I might go for 75, purely because it's in the middle there of the upper end. I think that looks pretty good. Now, as in the previous game, you can click and drag on your character to have a look at everything that you are doing. Make sure you like it. But more importantly, there's this new little option here where you can click and it will remove the menu from the screen. So you can just focus purely on what your character looks like. So that's very nice. You'll notice there's a lot of flickering with the lights at the minute. Feel like that's something they'll probably fix. It's not the biggest issue in the world, but there is another issue with the lighting, which we'll get into as we move further through this character creator. Now, eye width. I mean, you can pull them in stupidly tight if you want, or you can go Steve Buscemi and put them on the side of your character's head. Again, with this one, I think 50 is the best. I'd argue, really, if you want to look like a human and not an alien, somewhere between 40 and 60 on each slider is ideally what you probably want. Now, when it comes to the eye colour, this is sick. We've got 2 colour choices. One for the inner iris and one for the outer iris. So you create a 2-toned colour eye. This feels so much more like The Sims than ARK did before. It's fantastic. So let's click the inner eye colour. And I want that lighter. In fact, I quite like the colour that it is. It'd be nice if I could put a little bit more of the green into it by coming deeper. You've got your more washed out lighter colours, your deeper darker colours, and then you've got your spectrum going left to right to choose which colour that you want. So I'm going to keep this in the lower end of the greens and bring that down. Because I want this to feel like it's a gradient of blue, I'm going to bring the outer colour all the way out to the more purples, bluies on this side. Oh, do you know what? I feel like I want more purple. I think that looks pretty cool. But I might just lighten this up a little on the inner to bring some of the greens out and let that blue just go through in the mix. Yeah, I think that's lovely. I like that. I'm happy with that. Lovely. Our guy is coming along perfectly fine. Now, after the eye settings, you have head, hair settings. That's obviously for the hair on top of your head. So, first option, hairstyle. And this is the important one. We've got, again, 6 to choose from. You've got no hair, you've got long hair, you've got your, I don't know, that feels like almost a standard part of the old ARK haircut. You've got your long ponytail, you've got your Mohican, then you've got your Afro style hair, your bit fuzzy hair. It's nice, I like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the wavy hair, the longer wavy hair, and I'm saying long, but that's not fully accurate because some of these hairstyles have an option of changing their hair length. So long, medium, and short. It's still a lengthy haircut, right? So I wasn't completely wrong. But there we go. We can choose those, and I feel like for me, it's going to zoom out a little. Let's just check between these two. Yeah, I don't know if I like how that hangs. I feel like I like the more messy approach of this. That's a bit too perfect for being on an island stranded. And that's a little bit too, I don't know, I don't like it. I don't like it so much. This one here is what I'm going to go for. I'm a fan. Now, hair colour wise, I want to stick to my brand, right? We need, because orange is in my brand, a nice orange or ginger style of hair. And this is where I get worried. The lighting in here changes depending on how near or far the camera is. So if I click on general, for example, look at how washed out and pale that becomes. Now, is this what your character's going to look like in game? Or is this when the ARK fog comes in? I can't quite tell. Is this the more realistic look? I don't know. So I'm going to have to guess and hope that this is more accurate. Or maybe try and play about a little bit in between. So I was thinking halfway-ish, but that's quite dark. So I'm going to lighten it up a little and just bring it down slightly. Again, you've got 2 different ways of affecting the hair. You've got your white through to black with everything in between. Then you've got your cool ashy tones down to your warm tones on the vertical there. So I want this to be as warm as possible to make it as bright orange as possible. And I think I want it just left of center. Just left of center like that. Now there's a reason I'm not going too far to the left, and I'll show you that now. They've added 2 color tones to their hair as well. They've added tips, and if I click this next section down, you'll see we've got a hair tips slider. Now at 100, the hair tips are very, very strong in color. At 0, they're pretty much non-existent. It's almost like an opacity slider. So 50, I'm going to leave that at. I'm happy with that, and it's the color that's more important. So because normally hair at the tips is lighter because it's grown out and been in the sun longer, I'm going to make this further to the left, and that just brings out the hair, adds a little bit of a gradient to it, adds some more detail to it, and brings the tips a little bit brighter, which I like. I think that looks nice. I think this is a good look. I think it's a strong look. Perfection. So that's their head hair. Now on to facial hair. When it comes to choosing your eyebrow style, you have 2 options. It would be nice to have some more, but you've either got brows or you don't have brows. I'm going to give my guy brows. I wish they did bushy caterpillar brows, because if they did that, I probably would have chose them. But this is going to have to do for now. I'm sure he's probably appreciating that. Now you have facial hairstyle. That one works exactly like the head hairstyle. You have a few options here. You have no beard. You have a full beard. You have a pirate tash or a circus entertainer tash. And then you have your I work at the butcher's tash. You can choose which one. And the interesting thing is, if you increase the length, it actually grows the beard out as well. So this one, I can add that. We get a bit more beard. Go up to long. We get the handlebars longer, but also the beard underneath. So it gives us a lot more options than you initially think. I personally want a normal beard, and I don't want it too long. What looks right for my guy? I feel that I'm going for that disheveled, I'm on an island, I can't cut my hair look, and I think that is probably perfect. Now we've got the 2 color options again, and I'm going to bring this a little bit darker than my head hair, because this is essentially the root color. It feels, it says the facial hair color, but I feel like the tip gradient actually does more to change the color. So I'm going to make this fairly dark, then we're going to jump down, and I'm going to bring this and bring it a little bit lighter, just to give us a nice gradient through there and add some depth to the color of my beard. And I think that's looking dandy. I'm more than happy with that. That's lovely. Now then, we get to the options we're a little more familiar with. These, some of them at least, are in the original game. You can change the size of your head altogether. You can change the upper face size, which I'm going to do actually. I feel like he's got quite a large face up top. So I'm going to bring that down to 40. I think that looks better. With the lower face, he does have quite a large chin, and with that big beard on top, it's not helping. So I'm going to bring that down to 40 as well. And I think that is looking good. That is good. I'm happier with that. Brilliant. Makes him look a little bit different as well, because people will just be using default 50 the whole time. Head width does what it says on the box. Makes his head wider. Head depth makes it deeper, so more distance between the forehead and the back of the head. And neck size. He has got a huge neck, but that might just be his muscles. Maybe I bring this down a little to 40 as well, just in case. So I'm feeling happy about that. I think that's looking good. In regards to length, you can change the height of the head and also the neck length, which is a bit mental. Look at that. Here how it zooms on it. Like, it's got a full triangle for a neck now. So yeah, I think really if you want your thing to look human, you need it between 40 and 60 on the scales. If you're going for a wild, crazy look, knock yourself out. Go the full slider to the right or left. Why not? Now this is really interesting. It says muscle here. I don't know why fat is under muscle. But basically, you can choose the size of individual muscles now. Right? Not so much on this page, but you'll see on the following ones that there is a lot of customization. Now, face fat, it's just going to fill his face out. Make it rounder. You know, bring those cheeks out. And just go a little bit gaunt if you go the other way, although it doesn't seem to have a huge effect on every part of the face. So I'm going to jump in with 50. I'm happy with the default. And then neck muscle. This might be part of our issue with the triangle here. What happens if I bring this down a little? Ooh, that's... Ooh, right, that's how high it is up the neck. So that's like joined to his ears. And that's about halfway down. I might actually bring that down to 40. That looks a little bit more natural in my opinion. And I'm going for that. I want a natural aesthetic. I want a good, natural, human look. And that's it for the second page. So we're going to jump in to torso now. And again, it's very similar to the original game, some of these options. Chest size, shoulder width, hip width. You know what those do. Now, just to make sure, chest size changes the size of your chest cavity, not your pecs. You can do that individually. Now, if I want to, I can bring that up a little and just expand his rib cage, but I'm not going to bother. Again, I feel like 50 looks good. The devs have done a really good job at setting what 50 should be, at what the middle point should be. I think they've done a really good job. They've clearly designed what they want their character to look like, and then just gone, have 50 points either way. Go crazy. Shoulder width, again, it's going to increase the distance between the outside of your shoulders. So if I pull this up, I've got very far apart, wide shoulders, and the same the other way, really drawn in, really, really tight up to the neck shoulders. Going to leave it at 50. Hip width does the same, but for your hips. Height. This one is a little confusing. It says height, but then we've got torso size, which isn't a height. That's width. That's not height. I hate to break it to them, but that's not quite labelled in the right place. Maybe put that just in size, or put them all in size. It's fine. We don't need these many subheadings. So I'm sticking with 50 for that. I'm pretty happy. I think it looks all right. Torso height, I like the default as well. Now this is the bit I was talking about where it gets really, really, really in depth. You can go crazy with the customization. You've got your traps. If you want to bring those up, you're going to bring your neck muscles right out there. I've already been saying I feel like the traps are a little big here, so I'm going to bring them down to what looks right to me. And this is the lowest number I've gone to so far. I'm dropping that right down to 30, it looks like, because whose neck is that big? It's ridiculous. I feel like it makes his head look too small. So I think that's better. Or should I not? Should I stay with 40 since that's the lowest I've been going? Do you know what? I'm going to stay with 40. Am I? Yeah, I feel like it's the safer thing to do. You know? Keep it as close to default as possible. Back muscle, we're going to spin around to the upper back, this is, for back muscle. And we are able to increase the size of the muscles there and bring them back down. Now that is separate to body fat, so you can make the muscles really big and then add a lot of fat so you can't really see them. It's really quite cool what they've done with this character creator. Now you've also got your lats. It's going to be looking a little bit lower down, just under the arms there, and we can expand those muscles out and make those bigger too. But again, I'm pretty happy with where they are. In fact, 40 adds a nice little curve to the back there, so I'm going 40. I've changed my mind. Pectorals, that is the breast part, the muscles on the chest. And again, the physics from what I've seen are mental on these. So if you want to see these bouncing about, bounding all over the place, go 100, right? If you don't want to see any movement, just 0. But I'm happy for the normal expected 50 there in the middle. The expected movement, the expected size. That's all good. Abs muscle. I don't feel like the abs are coming through that much. They're not that defined. So I might actually raise this. This might be my first slider I take up. Because if you go all the way up, it really defines the muscle and pushes it through. If you go down, it just pulls the skin straight against the rib cage there. So I'm going to keep this, like I say, between 40 and 60. And I'm going 60. I want it to be a little bit more defined, especially with his arms. You cannot have arms like that and not be doing crunches, right? So obliques is the final one we need to think about. And if we just pull this out, you'll see those expanding. Again, just under the sides there, under the arms. And I'm happy with 50, but if you want it different, you can do it different. This is the character build that I want for my playthroughs, so it's got to look fairly sensible in my opinion. Maybe it doesn't, maybe it should be crazy. Now, I've mentioned fat and how that works around the muscles. Even though he's muscular, I can bring his size out, bring his shape out, just balloon his tummy out a little bit there. Honestly, looks like he's been, I don't know, is he taking his weight to the bar? Because he's got himself a beer belly there, but the muscles showing through. Maybe that's a lifestyle I would like. I appreciate that, you know? Having fun, but working hard at the same time. Chest fat, just does it up top, brings those, makes those a little bit more floppy at the top there. And then back, you can add some back fat, but I don't really, again, unless you just want a fuller character, there's not too much point. And I don't feel like taking it down. There's a point on some of these where you just don't see the change. So yeah, I'm going to stick with 50. I feel like that is the character build that I'm most happy with. And that is our third tab done. Arms is next. Let's jump in. Again, you know this. You're familiar with this. You've got your hand size, upper arm size, and lower arm size. And then you've got the length. The new addition again is the muscle and the fat options. So we've got so much more we can do. Now, I feel like those arms look big. They could be my legs. In fact, they're probably bigger than my legs. So I'm going to bring them down a little bit just to make them look a little bit more realistically obtainable for the average person. And I'm going to hit those at 40. And to keep everything in proportion, I'm going to do the same. 40 on the lower arm. And I guess 40 on the hands. Yeah, those hands look pretty darn big. So let's bring them down a little. And I feel like that suits the character better. I feel like the upper half is looking pretty nice now as it is. Maybe these legs just need a little bit of work because he's only doing leg day. Something that I do like to do though, arm length. I feel like for some reason in this game, the arms are like 2 inches away from the character's kneecaps. Like, is that normal? Because mine aren't quite there. Mine aren't quite that near. So I'm going to bring the arm length down a little. Again, I'm cracking it at 40. I think that fixes it up and it looks sharp. Muscle. We have all of our different arm muscles. So you've got your triceps. That is the back of the upper arm. You can pull those out a little bit there, you know, if we want to. And I think I will. You know, not enough people pay attention to the triceps, and they should. Look at that. That's fantastic. Really fills the arm out, makes you look strong. Biceps is the front upper muscle. I'm happy with the size of them. I'm going to leave them. Show you what it does though. You go proper huge. And just not have any. Whoa, the way the skin goes there is bonkers. Oh, wow. It's like there's nothing inside of his arm. So let's just do that. Hey, reminds me of my arms. So that is pretty darn good. Forearm muscle, that's the lower front. So let's just see. Yeah, I'm happy at 50, but again, you can give them really skinny lower arms, or you can pull them right out. And just, like I say, give them legs for arms. But I'm happy again with that. And finally, you have your deltoids, which are the very, very upper part of your arms, around the shoulders. And it's so weird because the balloon out on here. Look at that. Ooh, that's interesting. The balloon out. But if you keep going, they start to fill up. And so it maybe doesn't look as bad. But again, I'm sticking with default. I'm going 50 on that. I'm happy with how those arms are looking. And the same. I'm not going to add fat. I like the middle level of fat. But you can really pull the fat out the body and let those muscles shine through. Or you can hide them away a little bit, you know, behind some flesh. So there you go. Let's just pop that at 50. And that is the arms done. There's only one more tab to look at. One more little section of options. And they're exactly the same. Just they've got different names of different muscles because you have different muscles in your legs to your arms. If you didn't know, that is actually, you know, that's how it works. So, foot size. I think his feet look alright for his size. I'm not too bothered about changing those. Your upper leg size, again, we know this. I've already said he's got huge legs. So I think we just bring them down to 40 like we did with the arms. And they look way more appropriate for his body size and shape. Yeah, I'm happier with that. Way more natural. Leg length I'm going to leave. That just makes them longer or shorter. So it adds height to your character or takes it away. And then we're going to our muscles again. So, what we want to do is fill out the inside of our legs with this slider. I'm not that fussed. It looks like, is it just adding shadow or is that making his bulge bigger too? I feel like that's growing the bulge out. Maybe I should put this to 100, he might be happier. Now, I'm happy with how this is looking. I'm going to leave it at 50. I'm not bothered. Calves, you know, important if you're a cyclist. They end up popping when you ride your bike. And this guy hasn't got a bike to ride, so I'm going to leave it in the middle again. Right? Happy. But if you want to recreate your favourite professional cyclist, there's what you need to be changing. Quads, well, that is up top of the leg, and you can really bulk those out. They're one of my favourite muscles to exercise. So, yeah, maybe I should raise it up, but I already think his legs are big enough, so I'm not going to. But you've got that option. Hamstring muscle. It's every footballer's worst nightmare that goes. You don't want that to go. It's just the back end of the legs. Do I want those up a little bit? Yeah, I feel like at 50, the depth of the lower leg and the upper leg are pretty much the same. So I want to bring that up to 60, to be honest with you. Didn't think I was going to change many of the leg muscles, but there we go. And then your glutes. This is the most important one in the whole game. It's your butt cheeks. You want that booty popping, whether you've got a bloke or a lass. Get that booty to pop a little bit. I mean, go all the way if you must. But I think I'm going to stay in that range that I mentioned just to keep things looking in proportion and a little bit more realistic. So there we go. Got that booty popping. He's got everything else sorted too. And he's feeling good. You do have the fat options as well. For the thighs, just bring that right up. There's less groups because it just does that whole section of the body. You've got the butt. So maybe the muscle's not enough. Maybe you really want to pop that and give it some movement when you're running. But again, I'm sticking with 50. And then calves, finally getting fatten those up a little. Just chub them out. And that's nice. I'm liking it. So there you go. I'm going to stick with that. And that is everything. All of the things you can change. Remember, you can click up here, have a check through, make sure you're happy with your character. I just wish that the lighting was the same on this view as it was on this head view. Look at the change in colour difference. It's which one is the game? I guess we're going to find out, because when we're finished here, I'll jump in game, I'll show you my character, and you can assess the situation yourselves. Might be helpful. Before I do though, let's click back to general, not that we need to, but I want to save this character. Now when you click save, you can type in what you want. I'm just going to put male because this is my male character build, and accept that. Anytime you start a game, just click load and you can choose it and bring it in. Similar to the main game, but this is done a little bit more nicely. The way it fits into the UI is fantastic. You can reset your character if you want to, if you're not happy with it and you want to go back to the first one. And you've also got randomize if you just can't be bothered and you don't want to spend the time. Just hit that and keep hitting it until you get something that you like. I've got one gripe with this UI though. Why is this just floating in the middle here? I know why they haven't put it here. They don't want to. They don't want it encroaching on the feet and legs of the character model. But they could have easily aligned this to the left here. They could have easily done that and it would look so much neater. But then if they're gone, oh no, we don't want to cover this either. They've already started covering it, it's fine. Put it across there, because it's messing with my OCD, right? Please, please, let's start a petition for that. But yeah, I'm going to jump into the game now, because that is everything discussed and gone through and used. And I want to see how my character looks, see if I'm actually happy with him. So let's do that now. Here's my character in the game. I've just loaded it up and brought him into an area where the light is shining on him. And I think you'll notice straight away that this colour isn't the colour we were aiming for in the editor. It is closer to the zoom on the head page though than the torso page. So you want to use that for reference when you are picking the colours for your character. What I will say though, these characters are vastly improved. They are so much better. The level of customization you've got is incredible. You can make something really personal to you, and it can be wacky personal or quite sensible personal. So we've got every option under the sun, and I'm super happy about that. The thing that is getting us though is the game feels very photorealistic when you look at the map. It's almost like they've tried to recreate life, and then the characters, like I say, feel very Pixar or even Madame Tussauds. So maybe they need to do a little bit of work on the textures on the characters, but the actual builds, the actual designs, the actual options are incredible. Did I just say incredible? Incredibles, Pixar, oh my word. But no, seriously, I'm very, very impressed. What I want to do is have a quick look actually in photo mode, just so we can see not his crotch, the face there, and look at the eyes and things. And if you have a look again, I do think everything's a darker shade to what it seemed it was going to be in the editor. So bear that in mind. Maybe make your character a little bit lighter with its hair and its eyes than they are in the editor, so you get them how you want in game. Other than that though, it's pretty darn accurate. I'm liking the look. My guy has that I've been stranded or left, or I've woken up on a beach on an island somewhere and I have nothing and I can't cut my hair. Basically, he's the perfect survivor, the stereotypical survivor, and I'm super, super happy about that. I might go in and make a few tweaks, but ultimately, this is the guy that you're going to be seeing in my playthroughs and all my other videos going forward. So I hope you like him, because if you don't, you're going to be stuck with him. But that is my little dive into the new character creator. I hope you found it helpful. If you have, please do us a favour and remember to like, subscribe and ring that notification bell. It does wonders for me, and I'm super, super grateful for any of those things happening. Also, look at the description. You'll find a link to my Discord in there, amongst other things. It would be class to have you. But until next time, guys, you take care, and I'll catch you later. Cheerio.